Everyone, welcome to Basic Terminologies Part 2. So in this video, I'll be explaining what is offer for sale, what is a buyback, what is a stock split, what is rights issue, and then what is capex. Okay, so let's get started with the first one, that is OFS, offer for sale. So let's go back and see what exactly IPO means and then what is an offer for sale. So in an IPO, what happens? Let's consider the promoters are having 100 shares. Okay, so in an IPO, what exactly happens is they create new shares. That is, let's say initially the promoters are having 100 shares, so 25 or 30, I'm just taking an example. So let's consider 25 new shares, equity shares have been created, and they would be offered to the public. Okay, so at the end of this IPO, the total equity shares would be 125. That is 100 from the promoters and 25 from the recent IPO listing, right? So this is what happens in an IPO. Whereas in offer for sale, what happens is the promoter would be, that is already it is a listed company, so in that, the promoter would be selling his stake. Let's say, take for example, 75 shares are with the promoter and 25 is already with the public because it is already a listed company. Okay. So in this, what is going to happen is if the promoter wants to dilute his holdings, then he can do it by two ways. Either dump it daily in the market, or else via this offer for sale route, he can actually sell it to mutual funds or also retailers. So mutual funds should be getting at least 25% whenever they do an offer for sale, and the minimum should be at least 10% that the retail investor gets. Okay, so offer for sale, promoters who are holding more than 10% shares, right, of that particular company, they are allowed to do offer for sale. Earlier it was only for promoters, but now it is even for those guys who own more than 10% of a particular company. Okay, so you can be a HNI owning more than 10% of a company, and you can do offer for sale as well. Okay, so in an offer for sale, people bid for that particular company. The price would be fixed in a range. So people would opt for it, and all those who opt for it would be getting those particular shares. Okay, so same like an IPO, this offer for sale also happens. You have to bid, and then you'll be getting those particular shares. So this is about offer for sale. I hope this is clear. In case if you're having any doubts, you can just comment in the comment section and I'll reply to that. All right. Okay, so next coming to buyback. Okay, so we'll see what exactly a buyback is and how that helps a shareholder. So in a buyback, what happens is, so let's consider there are around 100 shares of a particular company. Let's take TCS. Okay, TCS has 100 shares, and as these companies become really large, what happens is their growth rate is going to be lower. You can't expect a huge company which is more than 10 lakh crores to grow at 25% or 30%. Okay, there it would be in single digits or in the upper, I mean, early teens, right? So to make that growth rate look more, right, what these companies do with, usually these IT companies have very strong reserves. That is, they are sitting on a lot of cash. So the cash they can deploy in two ways: either put it back in the company to grow it, or else they can do buyback. So in a buyback, what happens, the total number of shares, if they were 100, the company says I am going to buy back 10 shares. Okay, 10 shares they are going to buy back at a particular cost. Let's say TCS is trading at 3000. They'll say that okay, I am going to buy back these 10 shares at 3300 or thereabout. So what is going to happen is, people, if they are interested, they can actually put their stocks, shares, for this buyback offer. Okay, and if it gets executed, then this much amount would be coming in their account. So what happens after a buyback? Let's say there were 100 shares initially and 10 were taken back. Now the total number of shares are going to be 90. And what it does is, it increases the EPS of that particular company also, because in the last video I have explained EPS is equal to net profit of the company divided by total number of shares. Okay, total shares. So if the total shares are going to reduce from 100, it has become 90, the net profit is not going to reduce, correct? The net profit is going to be the same. So what happens is the EPS number is going to go up whenever they do a buyback. So you can ask me whether the promoters also can participate in this. So promoter can also participate in this and give back those shares. So if the promoter also does that, then the promoter holding in the company would be the same. If the promoter does not participate in it, only the public do it. Usually you'll see the promoter holding rising after this buyback offer. Okay. So this is about the buyback thing. I hope this is clear. So the next one is the stock split. So in a stock split, what happens? Explain that as well. So let's consider a particular company has a face value of 10 rupees, okay, and there are 1 crore shares, okay. So, and in this, let's take the promoters hold 75% and the public holds 25. That is the mutual funds and all those guys, though they hold 25%, that is around 25 lakhs. So usually what happens if the stock is trading at a very expensive valuation, okay, for example, you can say Eicher Motors was trading around 25,000. So at 25,000, not many retail investors would be really interested in buying that stock, correct? So what they did was they decreased the face value from 10 to 1. So when they are going to decrease the face value from 10 to 1, what is going to happen is we call this as stock split. So in a stock split, what happens? You increase the number of shares by decreasing the face value. Okay. So here in this case, if it is 10 to 1, then the number of shares are going to increase 10 times. So the price of this particular stock is going to be lowered by 10 times. So Eicher Motors would be available at 2,500 after the stock split is done. So initially, if there were 1 crore shares, then the total number of shares are going to be 10 crores after the stock split. So a 10 rupee face value of 10 stock, if it becomes 1, then the total number of shares are going to be increased by 10 times. And the price is going to be decreased in that same ratio. Okay. So this is what happens in a stock split. There is actually no benefit to a retail investor because let's say he was holding one stock of Eicher Motors at 25,000. Now he is going to be holding 10 shares of Eicher Motors at 2,500. So the value is going to be the same for him. Okay. This equals 25,000 again. Okay. So there is no real benefit in a stock split. Okay. So people actually feel that okay, this is a good thing, but there is no real benefit as such. Only the price decreases and the number of shares increase. Okay. So this is about the stock split. We'll go to the next one. That is the rights issue. So what exactly is a rights issue? We'll see that. So in a rights issue, what happens? So a rights issue. So recently, uh, Reliance did a rights issue, right? In June of 2020, they allotted 42.26 crore new equity shares at 1257 each for eligible shareholders in the ratio 1 is to 50. So what this means is if you are someone holding 15 shares of Reliance, then you can actually buy one share of Reliance. So whenever, so if the company wants to raise cash, they have two options. Okay, either go to the bank and get a loan or else do a QIP and all of that. Instead of that, if they feel that the shareholders might be interested in taking up those shares, they can do this rights issue. So whenever you do a rights issue, the first preference should be given to the shareholders. Okay, so it would be given to you if you are a shareholder in this particular ratio. And if you want, you can apply. It is not compulsory. If you don't apply, only then those shares would be offered to someone else who is not a shareholder. It can be a new one also. Okay. So whenever there is a rights issue, new equity shares. Okay. Let's consider there were 100 equity shares earlier. Now 20 new shares would be allotted. And let's take for example, if it is at 1500 or 1000 bucks, this much amount is going to go to the company. Okay, it is going to go to the company's balance sheet, and that the company can use it for various purposes. In case of Reliance, they used it to reduce debt. Okay, so rights issue is when it is the new shares are going to be offered to the shareholders first, and if you want, you can participate in that, or else it would be offered to someone else. So this is what happens in a rights issue. And at the end, right, we'll discuss about capex. So what exactly capex means? So capex is nothing but capital expenditure. Okay, capital expenditure. Whenever a company is doing capex, means it is buying new land, new factory, new machineries. So whenever it is buying those assets, right, we call it as capex. So how do you know whether the company is doing a capex or not? So on screener, if you go to the balance sheet, right, so in that fixed asset thing, you have something called as gross block. So if the gross block is increasing, that means the company is putting more money in buying these assets and the company is doing capex. So usually what happens if the company is running at 100% capex, capacity utilization, then for further growth, they have to increase their capacity, right? That is build a new factory and so on. So by looking at this figure, you will be able to figure out, okay, this particular company is doing a capex, and whenever they buy new assets, it is going to get added to this gross block thing. Okay, so I hope these points were clear. Actually, a few other points are remaining, like the liquidity thing, wicks, what the difference between the technicals and fundamentals, and also a little on the accumulation thing, that I'll be doing in the next video. Okay, so I hope these 5 points were clear. If you are having any doubts, you can always ask me in the comment section. Thank you, everyone.